few weeks ago, I had great fun interviewing David Howell about his new book, Grind Like a Grandmaster, that he wrote in collaboration with Magnus Carlsen. And in this, they talk about the classic method of grinding down your opponents in the endgame. Of course, Magnus is a past master at this, but David too is renowned for his persistence in the endgame. I think it's a really instructive book. It's also really entertaining, and I warmly recommend it. You can get it from newinchess.com, €29.95 or dollars. I think the whole broadcast is worth looking at. There are some really great tips in there from David. But if you can't spare an hour, then what we've done is put together a few highlights for you. In the first part, David discusses and explains the somewhat controversial title, Grind Like a Grandmaster. And in the second part, David goes through a beautiful endgame played between Magnus Carlsen and Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. And he puts me on the spot. I have to solve a problem, and, well, I don't do very well, but it is so beautiful. So do check that out. It's definitely worth looking at. By the way, the next live interview on the channel is on Wednesday, the 15th of November, 5 p.m. UK time. And I'll be interviewing Grandmaster Jonathan Tisdall on his new in chess classic, Improve Your Chess Now. There are some great tips in there. It's a very thought-provoking book. I warmly recommend it. So do check that out. Wednesday, November the 15th is our next live broadcast. Now, without further ado, here's David Howell. Okay, now listen. Let's get down to business, because let's talk about the title. First things first. Grind Like a Grandmaster. Now, some might say that's a slightly controversial title. Now, how did you get that one through the censors? Tell me the story of how you got to that title.
I didn't expect to be grilled this early in the show. Yeah, so it was kind of, grinding out an advantage, grinding in the end game, that's kind of been kind of informal chess terminology for a while. And it's, it was kind of an in-joke that I had with Magnus, that we have this grindy style. And of course, the word grinding does have its certain connotations. And when I pitched the idea to Chessable, the title originally, they were like, please don't do that. Please, any other title. Magnus involved, like, it will sell great. Just don't risk it with this title.
But you pushed it through.
Yeah, we were insistent. We were like, that's the only deal breaker we have, the only clause.
Fantastic. Well, let's ask the chat. Chat, do you like the title, Grind Like a Grandmaster? Does it work for you? Let's ask everyone in the chat. What do they think? We'll wait for that. But you're absolutely right, of course. In formal chess terminology, you grind out an advantage in an endgame is absolutely normal lingo, and that's something that you play in lots of different ways, but that's something that you enjoy doing. And well, Magnus, of course, is absolutely renowned for doing this. So it seems pretty normal to me, actually.
Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of seeped over into daily life as well. It's like, I'm back on the grind, just working hard, hustling away. And it's a coincidence that Magnus and I used to spend a lot of time in nightclubs. I mean, that's just a different kind of grinding. And I think that was kind of part of the allure we were going for. But no, it's definitely about the chess and the end games in general.
Okay, well, we've got big fan of the title. The title's perfect. Title well chosen. It's great. Hope there's no pictures, though.
No proof of these comments in the chat.
This is great. Manmoth1990 actually says, I actually work in grinding tiles for bathrooms. So yeah, great title. There we go. We've got lots of different meanings.
It was actually his idea to kind of get this course, kind of turn it into reality. I was a bit reluctant. I wanted to do one of those openings, lifetime repertoire opening courses as my debut with Chessable. But Magnus was like, come on, we need to we called it GLG. Do you know this song TNT, by the way? Like, TNT, it's dynamite. I don't know why I'm singing with a musician.
Do you know what? That one has actually passed me by.
I'm trying to...
Who recorded that?
One sec. I'm just
Okay, I've got to.
okay. It is AC/DC.
Oh, wait a second. Well, that's more my genre.
Yeah.
TNT.
I was gonna say AC/DC, and I was like, wait, if I get this wrong, chat will crucify
No,
me.
it is.
So.
It is. I've got Spotify here. It is TNT.
Yeah.
It's
And
AC/DC.
we
Yeah.
yeah, like after games, sometimes if we were in a restaurant or a bar afterwards, we would, especially if one of us had won a long grindy game, we would sing like GLG instead of TNT,
GLT.
and we had this little in joke. And
Okay,
yeah,
nice.
it was him who wanted it to turn it into a course. But I just wanted to pose a question for the viewers,
Yeah, please.
because after Bishop to G8, I think Magnus had calculated that he could kind of force a draw by getting as many pawns off the board as possible. But after G5, Bishop to E6, Black actually has a forced win. And again, this is where practicing endgame studies, puzzles, all that stuff comes in, because it's 2-3 move calculation. Maybe I'll put you on the spot as well, Dan.
Oh heck, I was going to say this is deeply unfair.
It's forcing moves. It's at least the first few are forcing moves. The last move is beautiful though.
Okay, that's interesting.
So this is, yeah, obviously we can't win end games without calculation, and this is one of those cases.
Well, I mean, it feels as though if that F5 pawn drops, then that's a slight problem.
Yeah.
But I'd also be looking at moves like G4 and maybe pushing the king back and seeing if there's some kind of way to rush that pawn down the board. But after Bishop F5, you have to watch out for a Rook H7 mate as well.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel nice. So I don't know. I mean, instinctively, I would start with King G6. I don't know if that's a good move or a bad move.
Yeah, King G6 is a good move. It keeps the advantage, or at least some of it, but there's actually even stronger.
Okay.
Vasily Graf, I mean, one of the best players in the world, played King G6. So you're right. I think on general principles, that would be right. But
okay, what about a Rook check first? Is that possible?
Yeah, Rook check.
And
maybe
King
just King F3.
And that's okay, is it?
Yeah, we'd probably have to repeat. But it starts with G takes H4, which looks counterintuitive.
Absolutely. Okay.
But it's very forcing and very direct.
Okay, so Bishop F5. Okay, so presumably one has to... I see. Right. Is it something to do... say H3 takes Rook check.
King H2, good.
King H2.
And that move, that position, there's only one winning move for Black.
In this position?
Yeah. So again, it's quite linear calculation until here, but this is the hard move to spot, and both players missed this during the game.
I was going to say, it's not immediately obvious to me what the move is. It's not King G5, is it?
Oh, but Rook G7.
Rook G. Oh, you can just exchange and play King G2. Sorry, not that one.
But you're right. It's a Zugzwang quiet move. So you're on the right lines, definitely.
No, I'm nowhere near it. I can't think of a quiet move or one that's any good. I see. So basically, the Rook is gonna. At the moment, we can't play a check because the Rook is defended. But if we just move the Bishop, for example, I mean, I don't know whether this is good enough. Then is it so that basically White has to lose coordination, so the Bishop moves and then we can win that with check, and if the Rook moves somewhere,
but here the White Rook can hit the Black Bishop, Rook E7 or Rook D5 maybe.
Right, okay, so we need a better move than that. So is that the idea, that basically
you've got the idea,
okay,
just need to finesse.
I'm not finding it, of course.
So when the White Rook attacks the Black Bishop, you need to be able to give a discover check and attack the White Rook while protecting your Bishop. This is just beautiful geometry.
Okay, can we do that?
Yeah.
Bishop B8, is that?
Nice, yeah. And White's in Zugzwang. White loses a piece. Rook B7, Rook B3, Rook D8, Rook G8, as always.
That is absolutely stunning. Wow. So that position is Zugzwang.
Yes.
Thank you for helping me through.
No. Sorry, I mean, if we had more time, I would have been less...
No, that was nicely coaxed out of me. So yeah, that's Zugzwang. That's an amazing position. I don't think I've ever seen... Well, okay, you see this kind of thing in studies, but... Okay, so just to explain, if the king moves, we take the bishop. If the bishop moves, then there's a discovered check, and we take this one. And yeah, basically the rook can't move to a safe square. So anywhere the rook moves, let's say here, then discovered check wins the rook. What an incredible position.
Yeah, and your question about tactics just reminded me of this one because yeah, there's always hidden ideas. There's always a bit of calculation to be done.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we have to practice that. Unfortunately, it
That's
can't always just
amazing.
be a grind.
Yeah, no. See, I mean, that's really interesting because, as you said, taking the pawn is counterintuitive. It feels as though, yeah, it just feels wrong to do that. However, this is beautiful tactical solution. And
Yeah.
so Maxime played King G6 and tried this. Is this basically drawn now?
Actually, it gets a bit flashy near the end. There's more tactics. This is one of those cases, one of the rare cases maybe in the book where it does really rest a lot on calculation. Here, Black has another win. Again, it's kind of study like.
Okay.
Instead of bishop f4, rook f1 just is the only winning move.
Rook f1. Okay, not an obvious one.
Yeah, again, it's kind
all.
of zugzwang and it creates a threat of g2, which is almost
And
unstoppable.
king here.
Yeah, then rook h1 check.
Rook h1. Okay, king g4, g2. So here.
And a check.
And check here. So let's say. Okay, king here.
Yeah, and I think bishop f4 is maybe the way to go. And
okay. So the rook is overloaded. It has to cover both g2 and h5. Is that
yeah,
right?
it still continues a little bit, I think, after rook g4, but essentially Black is winning. But there's maybe one last flashy tactic that I could show people in this one. Just need to find maybe a move. Okay, move 61.
61
in the game.
Yep. 61. Yep. King f5.
After king f5, Black tried the really clever bishop g5 check.
Oh, interesting.
So my question to the viewers is, what happens after king takes g5?
Okay, let's help him. What happens on king g5? Now, this wasn't played.
This was not played, no.
So why wasn't this played? This is the question.
So obviously, well, I think the first move for Black is obvious, but White has some resources there that look like they might hold.
We'll try this one. Okay, chat.
Yeah.
How does Black actually win this one?
How sharp are you today, chat?
Yeah.
Rook h6 check, I think, is the only resource.
Rook h6, okay.
Mm-hmm. And just keep checking.
So we better clear out.
But now White can move off the g file.
Okay, so that one.
Mm-hmm. And rook versus bishop here, I think still some practical chances, but this is drawn objectively.
We keep going.
So yeah, Black has one winning move. And after rook g6 check, yeah, this one's a bit tricky. And again, this time the players spotted this, but it shows all the hidden resources. It looks like White is going to draw by moving the king out of the way, but Black walks into the firing line, king f7, and suddenly White cannot stop the g-pawn. We can give a discover check, but it gets nowhere, and king h6 this time walks into rook f6.
Oh, that's the little swizzy move.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, golly, it's so difficult. Oh man.
Chess is hard.
Chess is hard. That's the conclusion.